What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson, with more than 2 decades in the sales industry. I've heard it, lived it, seen it, and now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people on the planet, the sales community. Because let's be honest, sales is the greatest job on earth. It literally gives us the opportunity to go out and create a life that makes us proud, that allows us to do all of the things that we love and provide for the people we care about most. It also gives us a ton of crazy ass stories. And today's guest is someone I'm very excited to have on. I know he's got some amazing stories. Not only is he a former professional UFC fighter, he is now the owner of MVB Luxury, and he works with finding the finest luxury timepieces on the planet, sometimes the ones you can't even get your hands on in the stores. He's my friend, Mr. Matt Van Buren. What's up, bro?
Thanks for having me on, sir. It's a pleasure and an honor.
I'm excited for you to be here. One of the things I know about you, man, is you've had your life. You've been fighting and grinding your whole life, and getting into sales is certainly no different. So I want to know, man, let's go in with a bang. What's your best sales story for us today?
Right into the story, huh? Okay.
Come get some.
I was living in South Florida at the time. This is probably the craziest story, and definitely, like, I've talked to some OGs in the insurance business, and I've told them this story, and like, I ain't never heard some shit like that. So this is a good one. So I was living in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale at the time, and the agency I was working for, they had a bunch of leads in Alabama, right? And Southern hospitality, face-to-face selling. We were selling mortgage protection insurance, which is essentially, it's just a term life insurance product with living benefits. So if you have a heart attack, cancer, stroke, anything like that, any major critical chronic terminal illness, policy allows you to accelerate the death benefit so that you can pay your bills, pay your mortgage, and not lose your house, right? Because 80% of people that lose their house due to foreclosure is due to an injury or an illness, being out of work or something. And so that's what these policies are designed. Also, and then if you die, it acts as a life insurance policy. It'll pay your mortgage off, so your wife's not mourning your death, and 3 months later she's trying to figure out how the hell to pay the bills, right? Mm-hmm. So I go to Birmingham, Alabama. Right? I drive up there from Fort Lauderdale. Got an Airbnb, went to Birmingham. I was up there for like 10 days, right? And so I'm booked. I got my leads. I got my fresh direct mail leads. I get to the Airbnb. Call the damn leads, right? I'm fucking hitting the phone, bro. I'm booking the appointments. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, my script. This is. I think. Well, I know this is where this guy got kind of taken back. So my script, like on the lead, it'll say your name, right? It'll say like Drew B. Wilson, 123 Main Street, and then it'll say you have a $220,000 mortgage with Chase Bank or something, right? I'll call you and say, hey, Drew B., this is Matt Van Buren with the Mortgage Protection Center. I just got your direct mail lead back from, about the request for the mortgage protection information. I'm the guy who goes over that with you, blah, blah, blah. So I confirm all the information. I said, this is in regards to your loan with Chase Bank. That's what I say. I said, this is in regards to your loan with whoever the bank is. Mm. And so I think this guy took that as me saying that I work for the bank. Right, which that's not what I said. I said I'm with the Mortgage Protection Center. I'm calling in regards to your loan with the bank, right? So I go to this dude's house, right, and it's a pretty fucking hood neighborhood, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the only white guy around, not the probably most Caucasian friendly neighborhood, right? But I'm in Alabama, right, and I got to make money, and I'm like, so Southern hospitality. Everybody, aside from this guy, was super cool. But, so I go to this guy, I booked the appointment, right? And what he did was, after I booked the appointment, he calls the bank because he assumes that I work for the bank. And he's like, hey, you guys know who Matt Van Buren is? And they're like, no, we don't know him. So, see, he automatically thinks I'm trying to scam him, right? So we go to his house, I go to his house. He's like, yeah, come on in, right? Lets me in the house. I get in, I sit down at the kitchen table, I pull my laptop out. His brother, so like I'm sitting here, he's immediately sitting to my left, and his brother's sitting directly across the table from me, right? And these guys are like probably mid-50s, close to 60-year-old black guys, right? And so I'm like, all right, cool. And I just immediately start building rapport with them. You know what I mean? How long you been in Birmingham? Blah, blah, blah. Talking to them. So like, right, like, because I don't know if you ever sold face-to-face like that. I think, I don't know what you did insurance, but I don't know if you were a phone guy or what, but I cut my teeth all face-to-face. So like my process, I start building rapport immediately face-to-face, and I try to read them and see how you're going to engage with me, building rapport. Like, are you going to like New York style me, just be like fucking get down to it, or are you actually because those people are tougher and I'll just pitch them. But if you're like nice and you're smiling and you're talking, I'm like, all right, this, then you know kind of where you're going with it, right? Who you're dealing with. So within probably a minute of me like talking to this guy, trying to build rapport, he's fucking cutting me off like right away. And he's like, I don't even know who you are, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get it, man. I get it. I said, so I pull out my license with the state of Alabama, and I put it on a table and I show it to him. I pull out my driver's license with the state of Florida, and I show it to him. I said, look, I'm licensed in the state of Alabama. I said, here's my license with the state. Here's my driver's license. My name's Matt Van Buren. I said, my company sent me up here to help you guys help them catch up because they're so behind. We don't have enough licensed agents in the area. That's why I'm here. And so right away, he's got his guard up. His brother doesn't say a word the whole time, right? So then he's like, yeah, well, I called the bank and blah, blah, blah. You don't work for the bank. And I said, I never told you I work for the bank. I said, the bank is not an insurance company. The bank cannot sell you a mortgage on your house and then sell you an insurance policy to protect that mortgage. I was like, that's a conflict of interest, number one. And I'm like, number two, the bank's a fucking bank. They can't compete with Mutual of Omaha and Foresters and these billion-dollar insurance companies. So like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm an insurance broker. I never said I worked for the bank. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense, right? And so he's like, yeah, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, motherfucker, you trying to scam me, right? And he pulls out this fucking like 6-shooter revolver, like some sketchy ass like fucking pistol, right? And he's like sitting back, right? And I'm always packing, right? I got my gun on me too. But I'm like, man, but see, here's the thing that I realized, like when you're in a situation like that and somebody pulls out on you, I mean, you can't do shit, right? You don't expect, so I can't get to my gun. I'm not in a position to get to my gun. And across the table from me is his brother. And I didn't see it for sure, Drewby, but I'm like 99% sure that homeboy had a fucking gun underneath the table and was pointing it at me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm in the fucking hood in Birmingham, Alabama, and this motherfucker's like, oh. So I got my hands on the table because he's like, put your fucking hands on the table. So I'm like, all right. So I got my hands on the table. And so immediately this dude just starts popping off at the mouth, talking shit, right? He's like, yeah, motherfucker, blah, you fucking trying to scam me and all this shit and blah, blah, blah. And he's got like 2 big ass, like fucking 120-pound pit bulls, like right behind his brother. The table's like the glass door right there to the backyard. These pit bulls are fucking jumping up and scratching at the glass and shit. And I'm like, oh, goddamn. And he's like, yeah, you're lucky. You lucky my fucking brother's here and blah, blah, blah. He's like, because we were going to do it my way. You know, he's like, I was going to let them fucking dogs get you. I was going to fucking tie you up and all this shit. And I'm like, dude.
Oh, my Lord.
What in the fuck is about to happen here? So I'm like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? So I'm just riding it out. And so I listen to this guy talk shit to me for like 5 minutes. And I'm just sitting there, my hands on the table, just listening because I can't really do shit else. So I'm like, all right. And then, yeah, what am I going to do? So then he's like, well, you're lucky, you know, we're going to do it my brother's way. We're not going to do it my way. He's like, you're going to jail. And he's like, I'm calling the cops. I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm thinking like, thank God, dude. Call the fucking cops, please. Get them over here right now. Right? So he did, well, right before he calls the cops, I forgot this part. So he pulls out a set of handcuffs, bro. Jesus. And he's like, put the handcuffs on. And I look at him and I'm like, bro, I ain't putting no fucking handcuffs on. Like, what are you talking about?
Come on.
He's like, these are going to keep you from getting, hurt, right? So then I'm like, I ain't putting the handcuffs on. So he points the fucking gun at me, like, real close. And he's like, put the fucking handcuffs on. And I'm like, all right, give them to me. So I put the fucking handcuffs on, right? I was like, if this is the story of Matt Van Buren, that's the story. You know what I mean? Like, hey, so I'm fucking sitting at homeboy's table, handcuffed at this point, while he's pointing a pistol at me, talking shit. And I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure his brother's pointing a pistol at me underneath the table. So he calls the cops, right? And like 10 minutes go by, they're not there yet. He's just kind of running his mouth the whole time, just saying stupid shit. And then he's like, you know what? He's like, you're white. Why don't you call the cops? He's like, they'll come faster if you call them. And I'm like, yep, you're right. Give me the phone. Give me the phone. So he fucking calls the cops, and I'm handcuffed sitting at his table. And I'm like, hey, look, we got a situation over here at 123 Main Street in Birmingham, and you guys need to get over here right now. This is an emergency. So hurry up. Right? And fucking so like a couple minutes later, the cops show up, right? And right before the fucking cops come, he sees them pull up, right? He sees them pull up out front because he had the window open. He's like sitting back in his chair, and he can look out his window and see the cops pull up. So as soon as the cops pull up, motherfucker takes the handcuffs off me and puts them up, and then he's like holding me at gunpoint till they knock on the door, and then he puts his gun away. Right, so he lets the cops in. It's not that it matters, but it was it was two black cops and a white cop, right? And so they come in the house and they're like, "What's the situation?" I said, "Look, I'm a licensed insurance agent in the state of Alabama." I said, "This guy filled out a form for me to come over here and help get him mortgage protection insurance, and that's what I'm trying to do." And I said, "He thinks I'm trying to scam him." And I was like, here's the lead that he filled out with his own handwriting. I said, here's my fucking license with the state of Alabama. Here's my ID with the state of Florida. And so the cops start looking at everything. And he's looking at my license with the state of Alabama, my ID, everything, the lead. And he's like, it looks like he's here to sell you the insurance that you requested. So if you didn't want it, why didn't you just tell him to leave? And I'm like, thank God, dude. Thank you. People got some common fucking sense. It gets worse. So
I can't wait.
You know what? The moral of this story you're gonna learn is you don't want to fuck around in Alabama. That's all I can tell you. So anyway, after he says that, I'm like, thank you, right? So, and then the cop's like, hey, you want to go? You can go. So I started leaving, and I should have probably said something in the house, but it kind of happened. I was probably a little shook up too. And so just like I wasn't really thinking, but we got out in the driveway and I was like, hey, look, man, I said, I didn't say anything in front of the house, but I said, dude, this guy just fucking kidnapped me, dude, like with a gun, like against my own will. This guy just held me hostage at his fucking table and handcuffed me with a fucking pistol. I was like, it's in his coat pocket. Go in there and talk to him right now. Bro, the fucking cops didn't even do shit. They didn't even go ask him about it. Nothing. They didn't even take a report. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So, like, my brother's a cop, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not like a lawyer, but I know the fucking law, and I know you can't legally kidnap somebody in your fucking house with a gun, especially when they're a fucking licensed agent, right? Like, if you didn't, like, you thought I was trying to scam you, bro. You told me to leave, I would have left. All you got to say was leave, I'd have left. So anyway, I'm fucking pissed, right? So I go to downtown Birmingham. And to the police station, get a hold of an internal affairs officer, right? I told him the whole story. I was fucking pissed. And he's like, oh, I want to apologize. I said, dude, this is my first time in Alabama and all this shit. And I was fucking pissed. I'm like, this kind of shit that goes on. I was like, your officers don't even fucking go in there and question the guy. They didn't take a report, nothing. And so the guy, he's all like super apologetic, like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Van Buren. That's not how we do things in Alabama, and that's not how the law works in this country, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, motherfucker, so do something about it. Then later on that night, he sends an officer over to my Airbnb to take a police report from me, right? So I take my fucking, give them the report. They're like, all right, well, we're going to look into this, blah, blah, blah. So a couple of days later, I'm driving back to Florida. And they give me like case number and all this shit. I get back to Florida, and then I call the internal affairs guy again. And I'm like, hey, what's going on with this, man? I'm just checking on you. I just got back to Florida. And he's like, yeah, you don't have a case. And I'm like, what do you mean I don't have a case? I said, fucking homeboy kidnapped me in his house and fucking handcuffed me and threatened me and talked shit for 10 minutes while pointing a gun at me. And you're telling me I don't have a case. And he's like, well, you know, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was some bullshit. He just like, you know, it's he said, she said, you know, whatever type of thing. And I'm like, he's like, so there's nothing we can do about it. It's pretty much. So yeah, that's how that story went. And this was like my first 3 months in the business, bro. Like when I just got licensed and like I was green, I was super green, just started selling. This shit happened to me. And most people probably would have quit and went and found something else. But when you fucking all you've ever done is teach fitness and martial arts your whole life, and you haven't built your social media, and you weren't really active with it, and you know you're getting hurt all the time, you ain't making a whole lot of money teaching fitness and martial arts. So I didn't have any, you know, I'm not a mechanic, I don't have anything to fall back on. So I knew like high commission sales is what I had to figure out to make some money, you know, and so I kept on keeping on.
Kept on keeping on. And, you know, man, I have done a lot of insurance sales. I've had to go and sit face to face in some situations. Like, I'll never forget one time I was sitting with a lady and her dog was literally like shitting on the floor in the other room. And she was just yelling at it to stop shitting on the floor. And I was just going, what the fuck is going on? And like, yeah, man, insurance is a crazy game. And anyone that's had to do face-to-face insurance 100% has some crazy-ass stories like this. And so if you're listening to this and you're in insurance and you have a crazy story, go to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. I'd love to bring you in and share something else crazy because, like, that's what's great about this industry, man. And something you said, though, is also very cool. You know, you came up fighting, doing fitness, training. I know one of the stories that you had posted about was, like, literally loading up everything you own in a car, driving to California, living in a dorm room with a bunch of dudes to, you know, have a shot. And so for you to come out of that and know, hey, sales is going to give me an opportunity to build a life. I want to know, because you're very, very successful. I mean, you're one of the top agents in your business, in your company. You also have your own luxury, you know, timepiece business. You built a couple of businesses at this point. What would you say is like your secret superpower when it comes to sales, or like your secret sales weapon if you had one?
Man, I don't know that I have a secret weapon or superpower, but what, you know, it's just like anything. Life is consistency, right? So I'll tell you, when I first started, after I did the mortgage protection thing for like 8 months, the agency I was with, they lied to me about how much money I was going to make and all this bullshit. And so I was like, I didn't know anything about life insurance at the time, right? And so I think I'm going on a tangent here, not answering your question. So question,
That's
I think
right, we'll
biggest, yeah, I would say my biggest superpower is consistency, being coachable. I'm always coachable. As much as I fucking hate anybody, it's such a weird thing, right? Like, I hate being told what to do. I don't like anybody telling me what to do, but I'm very coachable because I'm an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in the sense of like, if I'm asking you something to help me because I know you can make me better because that's what you're like, I'm coachable. I just don't like being told what to do, which I know they're kind of the same thing, if that makes any sense. But
yeah,
I'm coachable and I work hard and I'm consistent and I don't quit. And I think, and you can probably attest to this, you've probably seen it doing sales at Apex, sales and insurance. Like, people quit before, like right when they're like about to get over that learning curve and start killing it, they fucking quit. You know, they shell up, they run back to their job. And so luckily for me, I was too stubborn and stupid, I would guess, to quit. Well, I just didn't have a choice, right? But if I were to have come from an $80,000 a year job and then I try straight commission sales for a couple months and it doesn't work out, you know, I'd go run back to my job. That's what most people do, right? Out of fear. They have, you know, but for me, I didn't have, what am I going to run back to the gym and make, you know, a couple grand a month, rebuild my personal training clients and shit from scratch? Like, no. So I didn't quit, bro. And I did everything I could to get better. And I finally found a good mentor who was really making money. The guy was a fucking shark. He was an elite salesman. I flew up to Delaware. We were running final expense leads, burial protection, burial policies. So I met this guy in the hood in fucking Delaware, bro, like Wilmington, Delaware, in the hood, and we're running final expense leads. And I fucking recorded every presentation this dude did. Every fucking, for like 3 days, I was with him in the field all day, watching him sell. I recorded every presentation he did. I listened to it. And he was like, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't fucking reinvent the wheel. He's like, this isn't rocket science. This is a fucking copycat system. And I literally tried to memorize, like his name was Josh. I literally tried to become Josh. I literally tried to do his whole presentation word for word, the way he does it. He gave me his fucking jokes that make the old people laugh. I repeat all of his jokes. I was Josh. That's what I was in the house. I was just a copycat. I tried to be an expert copycat, and that's what I did.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to unpack from that because that's so good. And that balance between not wanting to be told what to do and also being coachable, there's so much to that, Matt. There's so much we could really dig in on because I really know that a lot of sales professionals that I've worked over the years and that I know we've mentored with and that we've talked to over the years, like, nobody wants to be told what to do. And this applies in sales too, right? If you're trying to tell someone, hey, you need to do this and this is the thing you need to buy, they don't feel good about it. But when you're coaching someone and you're helping them get the thing that they want by offering the feedback or the advice that can get them there, that emotional switch, that's when sales is really great. That's when you're like, dude, I'm not selling you. I'm literally serving you at this point. I'm just helping you get the thing that you want by showing you exactly how to get it. Whether it's coaching you in the gym and showing you how to get your fitness up, coaching you in your business, showing you how to create a sales and follow-up system, or coaching you on what your options are to protect your assets in life, whether it's a mortgage protection policy or a burial policy or just regular old homeowners insurance, right? Having that ability to coach someone by understanding where they're at and what they're going through, that's what makes you such a savage, bro. That's why I love watching you move, because I know that it's that genuine care and authenticity of like, hey man, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to coach you. And being someone that's been coached their whole life, I think you have an amazing perspective to be able to bring that to your sales conversations. And so if anyone's listening and, you know, you've been in fitness or martial arts or sports, use that ability to kind of be coachable and learn from everything that you're doing. I mean, that's why you're here listening to this show, because you want to learn and grow and share some crazy ass stories. And Matt, I mean, we've had a great time. Time has absolutely flown by today, and I'm sure we could hang out, you know, forever. So I'll have to have you back for another episode. Let's say they enjoyed your story. They want to know what, you know, because you're always putting out great content. You're sharing the, you know, MVB Luxury. You're one of the guys that has access to some of the nicest watches on the world. And, you know, if you're in sales and you appreciate the finer things in life, why not work with someone who's built a small business and truly cares about people by reaching out to my man, Matt. So Matt, what's the best way for them to find you if they want to learn about MVB Luxury or kind of the stuff that you're doing in the insurance field? How can they come and find you?
So you guys can follow me on Facebook or connect with me on Facebook, Matt Van Buren. Easy to find. My Instagram handle, MVB Luxury. My website is mvbluxury.phonesites.com. mvbluxury.phonesites.com is my website. The easiest way to get a hold of me probably is just add me on Facebook and shoot me a DM, and we'll connect.
I love that, man. I'll make sure we put all that down in the show notes too. That way people can come and find you easily. I know one of the things I look forward to in the future is getting to work with you on a nice timepiece when the time is right. And more than anything, Matt, I really just want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here, to share that crazy ass story. Man, I know that could not have been an easy thing to go through, and to come out the other side and still be willing to show up. Because I know you didn't just leave the next day. You probably went and ran another dozen or so appointments in Alabama.
Oh,
come on, we got to get at it.
Oh yeah, bro. I had another 3 or 4 full days like it never happened.
Absolute savage, man. That's why I love watching your move. That's why I love seeing what you have going on, and more than anything, grateful to call you a friend. and see, the business that you're building, and for you to take time to be here with us, man. I always like to ask one last question before we leave, though. There's new people coming into sales every single day. This is the greatest industry on the planet because it's literally an opportunity for anyone from any background to be successful. If they're new and they're here and you can give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
The biggest piece of advice I can give you in sales is you got to be coachable. And, ideally you want to find a good mentor, which can be difficult to do to separate the real from the fake, but you got to be coachable and you got to, don't try to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's telling you to do something a certain way or say something a certain way and they have a proven track record of that, even if you don't think it's right, there's a reason they're telling you that, and you may not understand it until 6 months or a year into the game, but you need to just do what they say, put your ego aside, be coachable. And that's the biggest thing with anything in life. If you're trying to learn something from somebody, you have to be coachable.
Matt, you absolutely nailed it, brother. I'm so grateful for that wisdom, and I know anyone who's new, who's listening, that takes that to heart and is listening and goes and takes action on it, they're going to win, bro. So thank you for that. If you're here and you enjoyed the show, share it out on social media. Tag us at Call the Damn Leads, at MVB Luxury. Let people know you got some value, some entertainment. And if you have a crazy sales story and you want to share it on this show, I'd love to bring you on and invite you to share that story. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your information. Let's see what we can talk about and get you scheduled to bring you on, because literally this show has been some of the most fun that I've had in a long time, getting to share these stories, getting to share some value, and know that so many of you are going to take this and absolutely dominate this year and every year going forward. So, as always, I leave you with the one reminder: go call the damn leads. We'll see you guys on the next one.